This video is going to cover your menus in AutoCAD, how to start a new drawing, and how to set up your quick start menu. So when you first open AutoCAD, this is the screen that's going to come up for you. Let me talk a little bit about what you might see here. Now, first of all, to be in your AutoCAD, you want to make sure that you're logged into AutoCAD. Once you download your software, depending how you downloaded the software, you still may need to be logged into Autodesk to be able to run the software. And it'll tell you that when you get to the screen. So you'll see it says welcome Nora here. So I'm going to go ahead and close that menu. What else you see here are recent items that I had created over the last, looks like a few months here. So these are the most recent things that you have worked on. You can put these in picture mode here or list mode, whichever you want to do. Over here on the left-hand side, you'll see open. So you can open a previous drawing. Your drop-down menu allows you to open files, full sheets, or other sample drawings, or you can just select open. New, if you select new, it will open up the last file format that you used. So if you opened up and created a metric drawing, it's going to be a metric file. If you opened up and created a manufacturing using inches file, that's what it's going to open up. If you had something set up for an architectural drawing, that's what's going to be set up. So be very careful by just doing the new, because it's not going to give you any information although you'll see tutorial here, but if I had the bracket open, that might be what it pulls up as its reference. You can do the drop-down menu and browse templates. So let's go ahead and open that up. So you have some basic templates here to choose from. And I'll tell you in my videos as well, which template files, if I want you to use a template file. And then you can also look at the items that we have here. There's Autodesk projects that you can do. This is if something that you would have installed on your computer, and that's the projects that you're working on. We don't do so much projects, saving things as projects in the AutoCAD course, but we do in other courses. And then learning. So if you ever wanted to come in and do some additional videos that I don't have information on, this is a great place for tips, videos, and tutorials. So we're going to go ahead and go back to our recents. And we are going to start by going to a new, and I'm just going to select new this time. And again, see how it brought up that metric. And I might look at it and say, oh, I didn't want that. You can go back to this start menu here. So I just want to go to my new button here, or I can also come up here to this new item here. And when I select new, I want you to show you what comes up. I have a start from scratch, quick start menu. So it allows you to quickly choose feet and inches. And notice that means everything related in this will be related to feet and inches. Or you can select metric, which has all your metric and ISO standard settings. You can also choose a wizard that allows you to do advanced setup, which allows you to select what type of measurements you want to use. We're going to use decimal. We're going to use decimal degrees, but you could do degree, minutes, seconds, grads, radians, and so forth, surveyor. The direction of your angle measurement, we're keeping this to the east, which means to the east is your 0. And the next option, counterclockwise, which means we go counterclockwise when we're looking at your angle measurements, which is standard. And then we can set up the size of or layout of our paper space here also if we wanted to. And I'm going to go ahead and select finish. If you don't have any of those things, what you can do, we're going to go back to our start menu. And if you start a new template, you can just choose this AutoCAD. Now this is going to be a feet and inches. AutoCAD ISO is going to be metric. So I'm just going to choose this one and select open, either or. But you'll notice that I have some settings set up in my startup menu that they may not have set up here. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn off the grid. I don't use the grid, and I also don't do the snap down here, because all the measurements I'm putting in are based off of the measurement I put in before. And we'll talk more about that as we move through some different drawings. The other thing I always want to make sure I do, if I want that quick startup menu, which I like to have it, but it's personal preference, is all you have to do is come down here in your command bar. So this is one of our new menu items. This is a command bar. And all you have to do is type in STARTUP, startup, and make sure it's set to 1. It's default set to 3, but if you select 1 and hit enter, when you go up to do new, you'll get this quick menu to start with. Okay, so that's how you set up your quick start menu. Again, just type in startup and then press 1. Okay. The other thing we want to look at is our status bar down here. And this information down here gives you a lot of easy drawing tools. The ones I want you to start off with for now are your polar tracking, your object snap tracking, your object snap. And then this show annotation objects. We just leave that on. It's always on by default. So other than that you're not going to need any of these items. You will also see over here, we have something called model, layout 1, and layout 2. Model is in what's called model space. That's where you do all of your drawing. Layout is in what we call paper space, and you'll see it says paper down here. That is if you're getting ready to print. So for now, we're not even going to look at that. We're going to stay in model space. You have your ribbon here, and the home ribbon is your most common ribbons that commands you'll use. But you'll find that if you go to annotate, for example, a lot of what you see in this annotate menu, you see in this small annotation ribbons here. We're going to focus mainly on our draw menu, our modify ribbon menu, and our utilities over here. So we're going to work with measure a little bit. We're not going to worry about the rest of these today. As we move through the semester, we'll touch base with each one of these items. So the first thing we're going to do is learn to draw something. So let's go up and do our line command. And notice on your screen, it tells you to specify your first point. This is your dynamic input. This allows you to see what the command is that you're supposed to do, and it tells you exactly what to do. You can also see down here on our command bar, line specify your first point. So when you first open up a drawing, your 0, 0 is located down here at your XY. And you could use what's called absolute coordinates, which is back what you learned in, high school and middle school, that if this is 0, 0 and I move over 1 inch, up 1 inch, over 1 inch, up 1 inch, and so forth, it's all relative to this absolute coordinate system. But we don't use that a lot in AutoCAD when we're drawing, because wherever we choose, we can actually temporarily make it a 0, 0 coordinate if we need to. So we're just going to draw somewhere on your screen, and you can follow along with me on here, or you can watch this video and then try some of these techniques on your own. So just click somewhere on your screen. So notice that with my cursor here, it's kind of like a rubber band. I can move my cursor all over the place here as I try to draw. And this allows me to start a line anywhere I want. And I'm not going to worry about measurements right now. All we're going to do is I want you to go around and click on your screen. I'm actually going to make a big star here. And notice if I want to finish my star, it's going to snap to that endpoint. Now, if I leave my cursor there, it's even going to tell you, hey, you're touching the endpoint. I'm going to left click. How I get that loaded on my screen is by using what's called object snap here. Then there's a down menu. So notice that I have endpoint selected, midpoint, and center and intersection. Those are the most common ones I use. So if you want to go ahead and select yours, then you'll have those selected as well. So what that means is if I come in here and I want to create another line from, let's say, an intersection here. Notice how this, zoom in here. Notice how I'm snapping here. And there's that little X. I leave my cursor there. It says intersection. I can left click. And I'm just using the middle roll button to zoom in and zoom out. And then I can create another line here. To end my line, I just hit escape. And then let's say I come in here, I want to use a line and I want to be on the midpoint. Again, since having that midpoint selected, it's going to automatically snap to any of these lines midpoints. Okay, so snap to my midpoint, left click, and bring my cursor out. And again, I can just draw some lines here. When I'm finished, hit escape, and it ends the command. So as I move through here, let's play with some other draw commands. We're not going to worry about right now polyline and arc because they are mentioned in the text, or excuse me, they are mentioned in other videos, but we'll actually visit those on specific drawings as we need them. So let's go ahead and do our circle command. And notice we have a center radius, which means if I select that option, if I click my mouse button wherever I'm at, is the center of my circle, and it's given the dimension in the radius. So see how I have this kind of like tan line with me here? That's the radius, and radius is from the center to the to a point on the arc. If I did diameter, I'm going to go ahead and select another location. That is the full diameter. So from one side of my circle through the center point to the other side of the circle. And that would be my diameter measurement. So when you're looking in your textbook, or excuse me, not textbook, you're looking on your drawings that I have posted for you, if you're giving a radius dimension, that is an arc. If you're given a diameter, that's the full circle, okay? So let's say now that I have some of these measurements in here and I'm looking at my ribbon here and I want to erase something. I can come to my modify option and select erase. And I can go through and notice from when you use modify, you have this square here. So we're going to go ahead and select some items to erase. So I'm going to select that line and this line. And again, to move to the next part of the command, I have to right click or hit enter. And now I have erased those two lines. Let's say I made a mistake. I can use the undo option up here, or I can also right click and select undo erase, but I'm going to leave it for now. All right, so let's say I want to get rid of part of something I drew. So let's say I want to get rid of the circle and this, oh, it actually looks kind of like an N here. I can go to the erase command and I'm going to click on my screen and drag my cursor. I'm not holding my button down. If I hold my button down, it's going to have this kind of crazy option that I can choose. So I want to actually click once on my screen. Everything that is totally inside that blue area will be erased, but nothing else will. So you notice as I'm coming across, when I have all of that circle in, it kind of turns a little lighter highlighted. And as I bring this down, the lines, as they're fully in that circle, become highlighted. And if I select, they turn a little gray and I hit enter and they are gone. Let's say I wanted to actually erase everything. I can do the same thing, but instead of doing from the top down, I'm going to start from the bottom and notice how it's green. When it's green, it's anything that touches inside that box will be erased. So I can go ahead and click and then select erase. Now I'm going to undo real quick here. Get everything back on. Now let's do the hold down option. So if I hold my cursor down, notice it's whatever I sweep through is going to be erased. So that's where if you hold the mouse button down and you have some items to select, it allows you to select them a little bit easier. The blue is a little bit more difficult, and I'm not sure why you wouldn't just select the whole, you know, the whole line here, but because it has to be completely in that blue area. So see how it's kind of hard if you're holding that button down, but if you're doing it on the selecting with the green, you can do either. And again, it allows you to select just certain lines without trying to just touch those. So that is how you add lines and how you add circles, how you erase, how you undo, and how you do a full erase. And I'll stop the video here. If you have any questions, please reach out to your instructor.